We are happy you could come along, and we are joined as always by Greg Engert, beer director for the Neighborhood Restaurant Group, a James Beard Award nominee. The group includes Where We Are, Church Key, Birch and Barley downstairs, also Red Apron in Penn Quarter, right next door to the Partisan in Penn Quarter, which I just wanted to mention quickly. Got a little love from the Washington Post food critic recently.
Yeah, top 10 places that Tom Sietsema loves to eat at. Not necessarily like the top 10 places ever, but like his places he loves to go to. So.
The guy eats at a lot of places, and I haven't eaten there myself. I've only been in when it was the Red Apron was open next door, but Partisan was closed. But you could see the big, huge bar and all the beer selections. Cool, yeah. So it was a very
something
inviting.
For everybody there, yeah, for sure.
Greg, it is always good to see you.
You too.
What is on tap this week?
So this week we have the fourth in the Game of Thrones series from Ommegang. This one is called Valar Morghulis. I'm probably butchering that, but I don't speak. Is it called Westeros or something? I don't know.
We're going to get killed by the Game of Thrones fans.
I don't speak well. I love the show.
Yes.
So this is a really cool beer. So we've done a beer from Ommegang on Game of Thrones before. Obviously, Ommegang is a beautiful upstate New York Belgian-style brewery in America that makes fantastic classic Belgian-style beers. It's actually owned by Duvel Morgat from Belgium, but definitely does its own thing. And they teamed up with Game of Thrones. So this is the fourth in the series. I think the first was the Throne Blonde Ale that they did in the spring of 2013. Then they did one in the fall of last year, Take the Black, which is like kind of a Belgian stout. And then the last one was Fire and Blood, which is kind of an amber with a little bit of smoke character. And that was done in the spring of this year. So now we're in the fall of this year, and we have our fourth beer, which corresponds to the fourth season that just finished up recently. So.
Yeah, we've done 3 or all 4.
This may be we've done at least 2 out of the other 3, but it is unfortunate, hard to keep track at this point. So. But each one's been excellent. And this one is actually probably the most classic of the 4 so far. You could say it's just a classic Belgian-style double of 8% alcohol, and it's tasty.
Inviting sweetness in the nose. Oh, that's real nice.
I mean, this is classic. I will say, Americans make lots of Belgian-style beers now, and not that they're always going for a classic or traditional approach, but when they do, I think Ommegang is as good as any for pulling that off. I mean, this is so reminiscent of like some of the best, most classic Belgian doubles we get from Belgium, like St. Bernardus 6, the Patter beer, or obviously Westmalle double, which is kind of the original double that's out there. This stands right up to it. And the cool thing about a double, people say like, what is a double? Is that you get the beautiful balance of all things. So when you smell it, it's sweet, but it's malty, nutty. Then comes the fruity qualities, and then comes the caramel, then comes the spice. It's all there. Not Belgian strong dark ales tend to be a little bit more boozy, a little bit more fruit forward. Everything is balanced here. It's a beer that's like at 8%. It's strong, but it's not uber potent. And it has a kind of delicate quality on the palate. It's almost reminiscent of like Burgundian Pinot Noir without any sort of acidity. It's like almost like red wine, but delicate at the same time.
I don't want to put you on the spot because we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but have you had, and I know you're friends with many of the brewers we feature, they've had a deal, as you would expect, with HBO listed right here to make and market this beer. Have you heard back from them? Any feedback about how that's been for the brewery?
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think that this is one of those kind of, we talked about this before, like this is a partnership that kind of turns your head when you talk about American craft beer, right? I mean, you have extreme marketing going on, and of course the bottom line, of course, is that what's in the glass is what's important, and these beers are all very delicious and very worth your money and your palate. But yes, it is interesting. Now, I know that when the first 2 beers they brewed, remember that you couldn't find them.
Right.
Because it just was like boom and out, which obviously is a lot of Ommegang, kind of getting to a new audience of Game of Thrones drinkers. They upped the amount of beer they made for the third installment, Fire and Blood. So that lingered on the shelves just a touch longer, but still flew off the shelves. This time they upped it even more. I think they did 100 brews of this, which is the equivalent of, like, if it was all full-size kegs, be nearly 9,000 kegs. And yet, it's going to be hard to find. So I guess that's a long answer to the question. And you said, how's the partnership going? I'd say it's going well.
Must be hard to quantify.
Yeah, but just the fact that they had to, with each one, pop it, more and more beer made, that shows you that it's incredible. And the other thing that's cool is for this one, they had viewers on Facebook poll decide the name and style of this beer.
Now, I hate to admit being a terrible listener, but you said this is the fourth and final?
No, it's the fourth.
Fourth, okay. You didn't say final.
I'm not sure if it's final. I'm not sure if it's final.
How could they possibly stop? I
think, know. Why would you stop, right?
George R.R. Martin hasn't even finished writing all of the books.
Well, that's what's interesting. So
be around for a while.
So some history on this one is really cool. Is that, like, they had these guys, I think last Christmas time or so, they had a Facebook poll and they offered them 4 choices, each name tethered to a style. So this was the Valar Morghulis, which is all men must die. That's the kind of the saying of Westeros. And then they offered a triple, which is called, like, 7 Kingdoms, and then 2 different quadruples were up. And this one got 50% of all votes. So they were like, okay, cool, let's use. But I guess what I'm saying there is the tie-in. You're getting fans that are invested in a show, invested even further into your beer. It's marvelous marketing, and yet it'd be silly not to go on. Season 5 is being filmed right now to come out in the spring. I'd wager they'd probably have a 5th beer.
Yeah, that's what's bittersweet about drinking this, is it's still a long way until
I know, isn't it?
Next season.
It's great when the spring one comes out, though, because it's like, it's celebratory.
Yeah.
But this is reminiscent. And who knows what's going to happen? They've got 5 books have been published, and after this coming season, you're pretty much caught up with the books. And he's supposed to write 2 to 3 more, which he hasn't written yet. So who knows what's going to happen?
You mentioned the caramel in the finish, and I got brown sugar, which brown sugar caramel. What would you pair this with?
I think this is. I think I tend to go a little bit more savory with these, even though you have some sweetness, and for that it's cool because you can have the sweetness balancing the saltier qualities or the fatty qualities of rich game meat like duck, and think of like stews like beef stew like cassoulet. It can be incredible. I love Belgian style doubles with mushrooms. So if you had like pork medallions and like a kind of a mushroom gravy, that would be excellent. Anything that's really heavy on fennel or garlic in a dish or in like a sausage preparation, I think that'd be delicious. And then one other thing that I've had recently with Belgian style doubles that's been fantastic is like really well-made grilled octopus.
Oh, okay.
It'd be cool with that kind of grill marks, bringing a little bit of a sweet fruit quality to the dish as well.
I don't know why, but beef stroganoff popped in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Just that real tender meat, and some people make it with mushrooms. So
exactly, and that's the thing, yeah. I mean, you got this category, you call it like stew. It could be anything from beef stroganoff to cassoulet. You name it. If it's rich, and has a good meat element, I think it'll go great with this.
Well, the beer is great, which is not shocking, but we will wait to see what we are shocked by in the upcoming next season of Game of Thrones. Greg, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Everyone, please always do drink responsibly, and be sure to bring your thirst next time for another Beer of the Week.